think, if you ask me, Steve Sarkisian in his second year, he got a lot to do. He got a lot of personnel. He got to put the players in the right spot to make this thing gel together. I think that this team can turn it around. But, a win last night against the Eagles will put the rest of your division and your conference on notice that we want to be in the mix with the Eagles, with the Saints, with the Packers, with the Carolina, with everybody else who's been getting love, with Minnesota. We want to be in the mix with these guys to get to our home stadium and play in a Super Bowl. And I think Atlanta can improve, but they got to start using more pieces. I mean, it takes, even to a degree, I remember I watched them last year play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Atlanta struggled, and it took Mohamed Sanu to come in as the Wildcat quarterback to start getting offensive points. They really did struggle. Like, they're doing enough to get by, I don't know if it's a sticky situation to me, if you ask me. Very, very sticky. Very, very sticky. So, pay attention to the Falcons. I don't know who they have week 2. I know them and the Saints coming up real soon. I know a lot of bodies got hurt last night. I don't know because it was late. I know the humidity. I know the game got pushed back due to some weather reasons. I understand, but it was really, I don't know. I think both teams can find their rhythm, but it might take some time, if you ask me. So let me talk about my fantasy team that I got this past week. We did draft late. We drafted the day before the league started. Going up against one of my good friends. He's like my brother from another mother. But I'm gonna talk about the team that I drafted. I drafted at quarterback Deshaun Watson, running back David Johnson, running back Kareem Hunt. My 2 receivers that got starting this week: Antonio Brown, AJ Green. Tight end Jordan Reed. My flex guy Keenan Allen. My defense will be the Los Angeles Rams. My kicker will be Will Lutz. On the bench is Le'Veon Bell, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Jordan Howard, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, and Phillip Rivers. Now, obviously, I'm playing in a small man league. I'm only playing the 4-man league. And I think, to a degree, that's the bigger challenge because I have so much talent. And if you heard, I got a lot of running back talent on the bench between Ingram, Henry, Bell, and Tyreek Hill can kind of, he's a flex guy. He can play in a lot of other spots. Jordan Howard. So, I got a lot of guys that's going to be number 1 options in the backfield. The biggest challenge to me in this 4-man league is, if you ask me, is to know who to play at the right time. Compared to if you play in the 8 to 6-man league, that many names, big key names that's number 1 option guys won't be there as much. Now, I never played in the 12-man league, but I always played between 6 and 8 people. I never played in these 4-man leagues. Now, why I decided to do that this year, I really don't know. But, playing for fun and playing with my, some of my friends I went to high school with, stuff like that. And we always play for bragging rights, play for bragging rights just to play. And, I love playing. I love playing. I ain't played last year. I had a stress-free year. I ain't got to worry about playing Saints guys because, I don't want him to have a good day because that might hurt me in fantasy if I'm playing a Saint guy like week 1. Shout out to my boy, Cool Boy Q. He got Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. Now, granted, here's my thing always been about Saints receivers. You don't know what the day they're going to have for you. Every week not going to be a solid week as a Saint receiver. If anything, if you ask me, if the Saints had a solid tight end, he'll probably get a lot more balls than what you think. But Saint receivers never really go off until like mid-season. Like, Brandon Cooks was so special because he had so much speed. Michael Thomas is a possession guy. He's not going to break away and run from nobody. He's going to catch a lot of balls for you, but he's not going to break away and run from nobody. That's not who he is. Pro Bowl wide receiver, top 10, in my opinion, top 10 in the game. One of the best in the game, if you ask me. He's one of these young stud receivers. But I don't think he's a guy to be like, put up ridiculous numbers a week for you because the system that he in. Because the Saints spread the ball around to so many people. But you don't know. We don't know. I don't know. So let's move on. Week 1, day 1, Saints, Bucks, at home. What I'm expecting from this game, if you ask me. Saints are a 9.5 favorite to win this ball game this week. Saints, last time they played the Buccaneers, the Saints did lose in the regular season back on December 31st of last season, 31-24. Now, it's officially time to start this season. In my head and in my notes right now, I got to preach on this one. Week 1, road to Atlanta. I think that's the goal. That's the set goal I think that the team have right now is getting to Atlanta and fighting for a Super Bowl. And I think the pieces that they have, when you start thinking about pieces they added in the offseason, and DeMario Davis, Kurt Coleman, they wound up getting in the draft, wound up getting Marcus Davenport, Traquan Smith. You know, they wound up getting pieces like that this season. First thing first, then you also think about the trade with Teddy Bridgewater. First thing first, they set themselves up to be a contender for a long time. There's a difference of being in the mix. Well, we in the mix of things, but being a contender. You know? Look where the Pelicans at right now. They are in the mix of things. To a degree, when you're in the mix of things, you are a verge of being a contender. Now, granted, and not trying to bring the Pels up right now, because I know it's not basketball season yet, but granted, if you ask me, and I mean this with all my heart, if you ask me from where the Pelicans used to be a few years ago to now find themselves in the mix, to be on the verge, on the next level, to be at least contender, that's a long way from what they used to be. The Saints, for years, was 79, 79, 79. And really, the reason behind some of them 79 seasons was defensively. I could go back and look at a couple of games where you could be like, well, dang, if we would have did this, made a few more plays on defense, it easily could have been a 10-6 year. It easily could have been a 9-7 year. One of them years you didn't have to win, but I think 9 games or 8 games to win the division because the division was bad that year. So easily things could have turned around quickly, very, very quickly. You add more pieces on defense. Like I said with Davis, then you get Anzalone back this year. Remember, Anzalone went out early for you last season. Anzalone come back. You got a lot of depth on defense at the linebacker position. I think what you need now is to put this all together. Marcus Williams is going to probably be an all-pro this year. I think he's going to ball this season. I think it's on his mind to ball. Marshawn Lattimore is going to have a hell of a season. You know, then you get Patrick Robinson back. You're not asking Patrick Robinson to play these big roles for you like he used to back in the day. Come play the nickel guy. I want to see how good this team is going to take the next step. You're officially a contender. There's only about 4 teams in the NFC that's contenders. Saints, Minnesota. Then you start throwing in Green Bay. The Rams. Then you start your wild card people like probably Carolina. Then probably Atlanta. You know, probably people like that. You know what I'm saying? But your true contenders about 4 teams, if you ask me. Offensively, I want to see Mark Ingram suspended the first 4 games of the year, which, if you ask me, that might be a blessing in disguise. Because the reason why, like I said it before, by the end of the year, the Saints was worn out running the football-wise. It kind of shows in some of the later games in the year. You keep 4 games less off Mark Ingram, especially when we start getting into December, when you got to face the Carolina Panthers twice in that month, and also when you got to face the Pittsburgh Steelers in that month. It's a lot less. And then think about, by the time we get to Thanksgiving, all hell about to break loose. Because then you got to play Atlanta on Thanksgiving Day. Then you got to play the Cowboys the following week on the Thursday Night Football. So you get 2 Thursday Night Football games this season. It's going to be a lot on somebody. It's going to be a rough schedule as well. In the mix, you got to start saying about the Rams in that November month between the Rams and Minnesota. all involved in that mix. That's why I say these first couple of games of the season mean so much to the Saints. So much. So I think all in all, I think we're in a good spot. I was in the building last week, and I said it before, it was like a pep rally up in them. These people was going crazy. Like the buzz in the building know how good this team is, and the buzz in the building know how close this team is to another Super Bowl. It's just up to the team to show up every Sunday and take one game at a time. One game at a time. The Saints has made tremendous progression this offseason by adding the right people to their team. You re-signed Teddy Bridgewater in the offseason. I mean, this team's going to be set for a couple of years, man. Teddy Bridgewater won't become your starting quarterback till he's 27 years old. And then ain't no telling what other pieces you're going to have on that roster to give him help around that team. You got to think about probably people like Max Unger going to probably be gone. People like, almost to a degree, make me wonder about Mark Ingram. Will he still be there by the time Teddy start? Almost will Alvin Kamara and another guy be the man in them years? Because you got to start, remember, they got to start paying some of these younger guys, and like Michael Thomas, Von Bell, Marshawn Lattimore, Alvin Kamara. So I think Max Unger going to probably be gone. Have a new center. Keep the line more fresher. You know what I'm saying? I think this year in their second round pick, because they don't have a first and a third, I think in the second round, if you ask me, I think they should go look for the best tight end they can find. Find the best tight end, or what they could do, look for more defensive line help. I think if they can find somebody else on the defensive line to put with Sheldon Rankins to clog that middle for the run game, I think that would be pretty dope as well. But that's my own opinion. Find somebody, D-line or tight end in the second round. So, those are my thoughts on the New Orleans Saints this weekend. Look, I expect 31 points against the Saints this weekend, against the Buccaneers. 31 points. That's what I'm looking for. I expect some good offense. 31 points this weekend is what I'm shooting for. 31-14. I think Tampa going to struggle with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think once the Saints start bringing pressure. And look, I respect Ryan Fitzpatrick. Look, because everybody, only a few people know it's like being undercover with some certain people. You just don't want them to know. But I low-key like the Jets a little bit. Like if I had a second team to pull for, really, that is my second team, would be the Jets. A few years ago, Ryan Fitzpatrick was balling with the Jets when they had Brandon Marshall, when they had him and Eric Decker balling together. And there was only a game out from making the playoffs. I think they went 10-6 that year. 10-6, 11-5, something like that. And they didn't make the playoffs. But he was actually balling. He just got too greedy because he held out trying to get some money. And the Jets didn't want to give him that money. So it's kind of weird. But he a veteran quarterback. He plays in this league. So I kind of expect him to be productive and put up some productive numbers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My top matchups this weekend to pay attention to: Giants and Jaguars. Odell versus Jalen Ramsey. And I'm going to tell you something. I expect this Jaguar defense to get after Eli Manning. They're known as Saxonville. New York don't really have the best offensive line. I expect this defense to get after Eli Manning this weekend. I think Jacksonville do start the season off 1-0 against the Giants. I don't see the Giants win this game. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think Jacksonville defense is going to be too many problems for the Giants offensively this week, defensively for them. Next matchup, this is the one my quarterback starting, Deshaun Watson versus the New England Patriots. Houston versus New England. To be honest with you, I think he's going to have a hell of a game coming back. He's going to make a statement game coming back this weekend. New England is actually a 6.5 favorite, but same time, I think Houston not going to go out like no suckers. They're going to come out and play. Remember last year they lost, I think, potential game winner with Brandon Cooks caught it in the end zone. Well, to be honest with you, I really don't know too many receivers that's really still with the New England Patriots. Cooks is gone. Amendola's gone. I think Julian Edelman is suspended the first couple of weeks of the season. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what New England going to put on the field this weekend. So I'm very, very interested to see what they're going to do this weekend. My other matchup I'm looking forward to is see Kyle Shanahan going down to Minnesota. 49ers versus Vikings. That's my dad's team. That's like my dad.